complete graphic novel haul for November of 2025. Now, I don't know if I usually mention this when it's around this time of year, but this will be the last comic haul of the year, which is crazy to think about. That's not the Christmas haul, because Christmas haul will essentially be from other people, not a whole lot for myself, if anything. There's a couple things I'm like, maybe I should. Well, no, if anything, I could just get them somewhere else. You know, have them from one spot. There's a couple books that I'm like, I kind of want to get them early, but kind of can't do that. I don't think, at least. But anyways, point is, comic haul. Complete graphic novel haul for November of 2025. Mentioned the thing about Christmas. That's it. Yeah, it's kind of crazy to think about. The next comic haul, graphic novel haul you'll get will most likely be Christmas haul. Because I like to, and honestly, I do kind of like how that goes. Now, waiting until Christmas to get more comics, so I can, that's that amount of time. Like I'm not, but even then, it's kind of something to think about because I order them pretty early. I order them earlier than I order these books, so think about, like, oh, it's another month. No, it's not. It's a little bit earlier than that. If all goes well, of course. Sometimes it's like pulling teeth ordering books early. It's like, it's last year. Why is it so crazy? And it's not having to do with the budget. It's having to do with timing. And it's like, timing should not be that way. If anything, the only conflict should be budget. But anyways, let's get on with it. With the first one being a last fair deal gone down. Last fair deal gone down. I don't know why, but I keep thinking it's called something different. I think because it's kind of an awkward title. The other one is called, this is ironically enough, because they have an advertisement for book 2. They don't. The second one is called something like, here it is. Crossroad Blues. This says Nick Travers returns in Crossroad Blues. I almost want to say it was something more than Crossroad Blues. If it's not just Crossroad Blues, it was like Underground Crossroad Blues. And I think I'm getting that confused because there's another Image Comics series called Underground Cemetery Blues. So I'm kind of like, it's one of those things there. That's the case there. But here it's the weird title. It's kind of an awkward title in my opinion. Now this is a Nick Travers graphic novel. It's written by Ace Atkins. So if any of that sounds familiar, it's just a graphic novel adaptation of his work. Both of the graphic novels are done by Image. Yes, I know this says 12 gauge comics, but the Kindle version says it's from Image and 12 gauge. So this is from Image. There's actually another book coming up that is the same thing, where it's Millar World. Millar. AI got it wrong. Like Malar Bar. It's like a Malar. Like, no, it's Millar. Millar. And then World. I wonder if AI will pick it up. I don't mind AI doing that, by the way. Like, the only thing I want AI to do, and this is by choice too, like you don't have to pick this as a viewer, but you can have AI just summarize a video. And there's certain things I bring up that they catch. Like one time I brought up the fact that, like, why I collect nothing but Image Comics books. And they picked that up, and if you wanted to know that, but you didn't, like, you missed it or whatever, or you want to go back, like, stop this video, go back, check that, and then come back here, you can do that. It was just the last comic haul video. But that's really cool. I love that. I like that AI does that. And honestly, I think it's the only time I'm fine, like completely 100% fine with AI and my videos. I don't want them to touch up little, like, make it a little bit more like visuals, because they've been doing that for people and it looks awkward. But honestly, I'm not been too, like, hating on AI. I don't think AI is the worst thing ever. I think AI should not be replacing people's jobs. I don't think that should ever happen. Like, even where I work, they could replace my job. So that is kind of crazy to think about, but I'm not scared to think about it. I don't think it's gonna happen. It's gonna be more like construction jobs, unfortunately. Like jobs like that where, yeah, kind of hate to say it, it's called the wave of the future. It sucks and it shouldn't happen, but it's a wave of the future. Like, that literally has been a thing for ages now. That's why they call it the wave of the future. They don't. It's just, I feel like there was certain jobs that were, kids don't work in factories anymore. Not that I should be comparing that, but that's kind of how I think about that. Kids no longer work in factories. So, wave of the future. And unfortunately, it's going to keep happening. So I think to hate on AI, yeah, I can hate on AI all you want, but it's pretty silly to not think of it as the way it's going to happen anyways. And there's nothing we can really do to stop it, but I'm hoping like it'd be nice if we could, like, not have AI replace our jobs, but unfortunately it's going to happen anyways. And hopefully what happens is that it replace jobs that no one likes anyways, and then those people that lose their jobs get other jobs elsewhere. But that's not gonna. Honestly, that's less likely to happen than AI not replacing the jobs. So, but anyways, this is also an original graphic novel, meaning there's actually there's chapters here, but it's all in one. Like, this was never released as issues 1 through 4 of Last Fair Deal Gone Down. And I do like, so I think that this digest sized for Image to do these digest sized books is fine when it's an original graphic novel. Skybound's Comet, all of those books are it's kind of nice, it's also uniform. The Skybound comic books are all this size. They're all digest sized just like this. So on your shelf, all your Skybound comic books are uniform. It's the same size, not same thickness, but same length. Not same length, same height. So, I think that's good. Now, little segue. Oh, so the artist here is Marco Finnegan. We'll do the artwork again. So, written by Ace Atkins, artwork done by Marco Finnegan. Last Fair Deal Gone Down, a Nick Travers graphic novel. Book 1 of 2 of his Image Comics graphic novel adaptations of his work, written work. So, as I was saying, when I don't like what they do with digest-sized books is books like this, Juvenile. This is originally a 5-issue miniseries, and I completely doubt that the 5 issues were the size. They were the size of your average trade paperback, like this right here. This, see, different dimensions. So this is how Juvenile should be the same size as Superior, not the same size as Last Fair Deal Gone Down. Purely based off the fact that this was originally released as 5 issues that were standard size, as Superior was. I don't know why they do this. Because this is, you can't say like, oh, it's because it's a teen book. This is Teen Plus. If it was rated T for teen, it was made for teens, even then that's kind of silly. I know you're kind of going for, like, when you see it on the comic shelf, I get it, like, they see, right next to it, they see Teen Titans Raven. They see this, and they're like, oh, I like Teen Titans Raven. What's this? Because it's the same size. I can kind of get behind that the more I think about it, but I think it's really silly that this needs to be a smaller size book. Now, thankfully, it's not minuscule like how Long Hot Summer was. It is still this readable, it's still comfortably readable, for me at least, size, just digest sized. But why are we doing this? Why not do both? You can get either the digest sized book or the original standard sized softcover. They do it with the Witchblade. Witchblade, you can get either standard sized hardcover or standard sized trade paperback. Why not with this? Why not give us the option? Now, it's not a deal breaker for me. I would never be like, oh my god, Juvenile, this looks like a good book. Oh, it's digest size, I'm not gonna buy it. No, I would never end up doing that. It just kind of, it's one of those things that kind of, it's like a first world problem kind of deal. But this one collects 1 through 5 and is written and drawn by Jesus Orellana. So this one did sneak up on me, like I mentioned before. I don't want to, like, refuse to mention things I mentioned before in other videos, because this is supposed to be, like, this is literally called the complete graphic novel haul for November 2025, so I want the video to be complete. Now, this one, I swear, was written and drawn by Maria Lovett, who did Violent Flowers, Crave, and it's another series she's doing right now. I can't remember the name of it. But she's done a few comics or Image. So I was like, well, I'll wait until the last, because there's one that's ongoing right now, and it's gonna be, the trade's gonna be out in April. So if anything, I would wait until April to get this book. But I was browsing my library's catalog, and this one came up, and it was like, oh yeah, Juvenile, and I don't know if I saw I don't know if I saw this on my phone or whatever, or wherever, or it just showed up on the writer, Jesus Orellana. I don't know, but I saw it, and I was like, oh shit, this is not done by Maria Lovelit, it's done by Jesus Orellana. I believe it's Jesus, not Jesus. Hence this right here. I don't know. I'm going to say Jesus. I think it's what it's supposed to be. 9 times out of 10, that's the case. With people named Jesus and people named like Jesus. But anyways, I bought it. I'm glad I did. But spending $14.99 for a... Because honestly, that's the price too. With the price tag, I had no idea it was going to be a digest-sized book. So on top of sneaking up on me with the writer and like, oh wait, Juvenile, that's not been written and drawn by Maria Lovelit? I thought it was. That's why I didn't buy it. It's been out since September. I didn't buy it back in September. And unfortunately, I could have bought it back in September. I say unfortunately because I could have replaced it with a book. Gracie's Ghost. It's not because I've read it and I hate it. It's because I'm a completist and I thought it was the only thing Dawn Brown had done for Image. There is 2 other series she did. Well, it's 2 volumes in the series. And it's kind of hard to find. And it's kind of like, well, okay, good, trades here. Where's the trade for volume 2? Oh, we get the individual issues, and it's kind of expensive. Cool, thank you for that. But anyways, Jesus Orellana, Juvenile, issues 1 through 5, Juvenile, and then I'll show the artwork. And then also, it's a nice way to show how, yeah, it's kind of like, why not make it standard size? Especially if you're charging $14.99. You're charging full price for a digest-sized book. Kind of scummy. Now, I do want to segue that into saying that Image Comics has really great pricing overall. Sometimes they'll have stuff like this where it's kind of scummy, but if anything, it's probably been $16.99 if it was standard size. So I guess that's where it should come in blessing. Because there's a bunch of 5-issue series that are $16.99 from Image that are also new releases like this. So I guess to say that it's scummy that they did that, go kind of scummy, is also a bit of it's already kind of inaccurate the more I think about it. But this looked good. But yeah, and also, like, I swear, like, you see if the cover's done by, because I swear the cover is done by Maria Lovelit. So I just assumed. Thank you for not, so written, illustrated, lettered, and designed by Jesus. So Jesus did everything. But I know that some covers were done by Maria Lovelit. Do you have it in the back here? No, you do not. Okay. I kind of like when books do that. They just go right into, you get the credits page, and then right next to it, so credits page here, where the copyright is, and then right into the book. Like, why not do a whole page of it? Like how you always do it. Like, here, let's go back to Last Fair Deal Gone Down. This is how it should be. Copyright page here, credits page here. And that's usually how it is for Image Comics. Like, it's honestly, it's more forward for them not to do that than to do that. But it's just one of those things that's like, it kind of looks ugly. It's not a deal breaker, it's not anything to get worked up about, but it's just kind of like, kind of looks ugly. And we've done a product placement for when I got that drink. I don't have the can with me. I should have done anything else but wiped off my shirt. Oh well. Alright, anyways, next book up is Mark Millar and Lionel Yu's Superior. Now, this is the book that I was talking about that just says Millar World. Then you go in the back here, and it says Icon and Millar World. Unfortunately, I kind of paid overpriced for this. I paid $25 for this, which only $5 more than the list price, and it's a new condition book. But nowhere here, this is why it kind of pisses me off, but nowhere here does it say that it's done by Image. In fact, it says published by Marvel Worldwide Incorporated, a subsidiary of Marvel Entertainment. However, according to Amazon and eBay, this is Image Comics. So I choose to believe those two sources. Now, the same thing happened with, this was a long time ago, so I didn't really care. But after a while, I was like, wait, no, it's supposed to be from Image. Same thing, the copy of Kingsman I have is the Millar World Marvel Entertainment book. Now, here's where I say, it's so different, blah, 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 blah. because Jupiter's Legacy is Millar World, but it's done by Image, and on the spine it shows Image, like how every other Image Comics does it. So it says, so pretend this is fucking Jupiter's Legacy. I can't think of the name. It would have the Image logo here, like how it does with every other Image comic trade, paperback and hardcover. But this one is chose to be annoying. But this is one I read before. So why did I buy this? Well, it's one I read before, and I like to at least one book per month do the library had it. I liked it so much I bought it myself. Now, technically I did get the copy. I did order this on the library before I ordered it on Amazon. So technically, by its teeth, it counts. This counts too. So even here, like, you can still say like, oh, blah blah blah. But I like those Image books. To do with Marvel books is not silly at all. Actually, I haven't thought. I've actually, speaking of other publishers, I have thought of finally buying Preacher myself, and that's Vertigo, not Image. But time will tell if I end up going through that. Because, again, it's my favorite graphic novel series of all time. Like, just straight up of all time. Not by publisher, of all time. So, to own it is probably something I should think about doing. Especially because I can just get books 1... I get to trade paperbacks of 1, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I have Volume 2 because it was Volume 1's on the Kindle. So it's like, oh, okay, Kindle, I read Volume 1, then Volume 2... I just own. And I don't know why. I don't know how I was fine with doing that. Yeah, so it was Prime Reading, so I got it for free. So I just would keep it in my library, because that's what you could do for Prime Reading books, so long as you didn't replace it. Like, you can have 10 checked out at a time, but no more than 10. If you want more than 10, you gotta switch one out with the other. So if you finish up Lock and Key and you want Avengers versus Thanos or vice versa, yeah, switch them out, and then you can still keep the remaining 9 on your Kindle. That's why it must suck to share a Kindle with somebody if you're doing Prime Reading. Because I want to say Kindle Unlimited is the same exact thing. Comixology, I don't think is. I have thought about getting Comixology, though. I probably should. But that's going to be a New Year's resolution, because I don't really read digitally anyways. I'm not big on reading digitally. We'll go on a little tangent after we go through Superior. So I don't mind making this video a little bit longer. But Superior collects 1 through 7 of Superior by Mark Millar and Lionel Francis Yu. I should have said that, like how I don't mind doing it. Well, does anybody else do? No, it's more the fact that, here's the artwork, by the way. It was more the case that, come on, brain, kick in. Brain's not kicking in. Here's the artwork for Superior. Oh, it's one of these videos are long anyways. Like, they're at least an hour long, so I think people should expect them. If you've been a long-time viewer, you know that these videos are traditionally run longer than your average video. At least twice the length of your average video here. And honestly, I don't think a lot of my videos get less than 20 minutes. Unless I'm reviewing 4 comics. Like, even that's 10 minutes. But even, that's kind of rare. I would say on average, my videos run 25 minutes long. So honestly, let's go 22 minutes, get that sweet spot, because that's how long, like, half-hour shows are without ads. Which if I ever get an ad on here until I actually get monetized, you can definitely skip those, because I'm not getting any money off of it. Unless YouTube is doing it in secret, which, yeah, no, they're not doing that in secret. So what YouTube does, so I'll go a little tangent there, and I'll get on my tangent about reading digitally versus physically. TLDR for YouTube, if your video gets a certain amount of views, they put ads on there. The creator gets nothing. YouTube gets everything. Advertiser gets everything. YouTube and the advertiser get the money. Creator gets nothing. It's crazy. Even Marvel Comics, as skimpy as they are, giving creator rights to creators when they feature Rocket Raccoon. Yeah, the creator of Rocket Raccoon gets nothing. But they still, well, next to nothing. It's something, it's not nothing. It's next to nothing. So get maybe I think $1,000 in comparison to the millions of dollars that the movies make, the Guardians of the Galaxy movies make. But anyways, that's kind of comparison I want to make. But yeah, reading digitally versus physically. A lot of it is just a lot of it is just the library books, Like, I already have to sacrifice some books, because you'll see when I do what I'll be reading in December. but I had to sacrifice some books for the time being in order to finish up other books. So already we're doing that with the library books. So when it comes to reading digitally, that's part of it, but also I just don't like it. Like I don't, especially if I'm reading outside, like a physical book like this, I can bring this outside no problem, as long as the lighting is good outside, it's perfectly sunny out, and it's not like super dark, cloudy. Even like overcast, I can read just fine. I don't mind reading outside if I have to. You know, it's a nice day out, bring some books out, read outside. To do that with the Kindle is a huge pain in the ass. Because I have it on the tablet. To do it with the tablet is a huge pain in the ass. I'm not buying a Kindle Color White, whatever it's called, just so I can read my digital comics outside. That's part of it. So I kind of get into that mindset. But even then, like okay, you read the Kindle books at nighttime, when it's dark out. Not a bad idea. And honestly, nighttime power goes out. It'd be nice to have this guy fully charged, and I continue reading, but it's digital. Maybe, and that's a New Year's resolution also, is to get back on reading digitally. But that's kind of how I feel. Like, I would read, even if I'm reading digital comics, I make an effort to read at least one per day. It would be one per day. At least one per day. So if I said my New Year's resolution, read at least one Kindle comic per day, it would be one. It would be not, traditionally, it would not be more than one. Maybe on the weekends, and more than once, they have more time to read. But during the week, when it's work night, when I have work all day and I work the next day, yeah, I'm not gonna focus on the physical comics rather than the digital comics. That's my TLDR. So a lot of it has to do with scheduling. If to put it in that awkward wording, but I actually think it's less awkward and more suiting. But then also it's just I don't prefer to read digitally. Also, I like reading physically. Like, I think reading physically is the best. You know, it's holding this book in my hand rather than holding the iPad in my hand. It's a lot different. Yes, 1 through 7 for this. I'll show the artwork again for Superior. It was really good though. I did like it. One thing actually I do want to mention is I almost forgot. So this is not Marvel saying this, because Kingsman is uncensored, but if I can find it, because it wasn't all the time they'd have swears, but the F words are censored. But it was really good. Like it was. So Mark Millar for me is technically hit or miss. I really liked. Kick-Ass is obviously my magnum opus from Mark Millar. I really liked Ultimates. Took me a little bit to get into it. Like I read it first time around, I was like, that's good, but not great. Read it the second time around, I was like, oh my god, that's awful. That's amazing. Yeah, it says Marvel.com on the back. Hate that. Anyways, read the second time Ultimates, absolutely loved it. And then the third time I was like even more loved it. Ultimate X-Men is very hit or miss. Loved the first volume. Second volume was okay. Third and fourth I loved. Fifth and sixth, and then, well, this was Ultimate War, and then fifth volume. Very just, That's kind of where it's like, Ultimate X, so Mark Millar can't always hit, can he? But even then, Ultimate X-Men Volume 1 I really liked. And then, most recently, Wolverine Enemy of the State was, you get a full review of this, but TLDR review was, it's more on the lines of how I felt about Ultimate X-Men than how I felt about Ultimates and Kick-Ass. Kingsman I also did like. I actually like Kingsman the comic way more than the movie. All in all, I do really like Mark Millar's writing. I will die on the hill that he is one of my favorite writers, and I don't think that he deserves the hate that he receives for his work. He is kind of an edgelord, but not really. Like, I've read worse. That was more edgelord. Like, you guys read some of the comics I've read before. But anyways, Millar World from Image Comics. I will die on that hill too. "24 minutes. Okay. All-Negro Comics. America's first black comic book. What is it? I was reading this at the bottom here, the little quote here, but that wasn't part of the title. So this is published by Image Comics. So what exactly is this? Well, it's a reprinting of the first issue of All-Negro Comics. And yes, I do feel awkward saying that. It says it right here. I get to say it. What if it's the other N-word? I didn't say that. It's their fault. But anyways, it collects the first... It does feel awkward, though, saying that. I'm not trying to say anything with that. I'm just... I was making kind of a joke there. But yeah, that's kind of a way to say that. But it collects the first issue of All-Negro Comics in its entirety. And it has some bonus stories at the end by new and upcoming black comic book writers, or black writers, prominent writers. I think that's what the word that the explicits used when this was being announced for solicits. And so yeah, original 1947 comic book. That is really cool. And then they have stories like this that were just prose. They include that as well. And I believe the new stories, they do a prose story here too. So they were trying to get it as similar similar to how the first issue was, but just modernizing it, of course. But other than that, like, they had a prose issue here. They had a story like that. They had comic stories here. So where is... So then you have little essays here, which that was my main concern, because this is already a whopping, quote-unquote, 88 pages. That's very thin for an image comic book, even for something like this. So when they say there's essays here that I'm just going to skip, maybe I won't, but I'm more likely they're just going to skip, then I'd rather have more of this, more comic book stories. And thankfully, it is very limited, the essays. There's like a few essays in here, and that's it. It's mostly... I'd go so far as to say this is 80%... No, 90% comic books. As it should be. It's a graphic novel. So why wouldn't you do that? So I'm flipping the rest to get... This is, again, here's the other prose book that's included in here. I don't mind that either. I think that, not that it should be a norm for comics to do, but I don't mind that comics do that. Just means it's going to take a lot longer to read it, but that's fine. Honestly, my first time reading this, I probably will read through the essays. I'll probably do, like, except for this at the end, the discussion questions. This is where it's like schools, you have school, and I think that should be done more often too. So they have on the back here helpful little questions if you're teaching this in the class to go over with your students. I think that should be done in schools more often. I work at a school, so it's really ironic. So it's ironic that I just brought up, was shown here, because I think that graphic novels should be taught in school more often. Now, should we be having a lesson on Superman 148 for no reason other than, oh, we can do comics now? For fun, yes, but other than that, no. But I think if you're gonna force kids to read Shakespeare, you should force them, or you should they should force you to read comics, you know? Like, and I'm talking something that's a little bit more school-friendly. Like, this has questions at the end for schools to go over in discussions. This can also be discussed if you're going over the topic of racism in 1947, how life was for black people back then. So that's, and they could say, oh, 1947, so going over, like, the black struggle. And then in the past, and going over 1947 comes around. You can say, oh, they came out with this comic. It's the first black created comic book. So, and you can show the kids the book. Hopefully the school will have the high enough budget to where each kid gets a copy, so long as they return to the library. It's not every kid can get the copy, obviously. The way that my school does it is that it gets, switched around, how it always was done. You get like 20 copies for 20 kids. They finish it, they return it, rinse and repeat. So you do the same thing here with it's just $12.99. It's not that expensive. So, get the school budget to do more comics. Because this is perfect. You're already discussing racism in the past, and then you get to 1947, you say, hey, this is this, and then that becomes a lesson. You can read a comic book for school. That, I think, would be really cool. And the Image Comics Skybound comic books, those traditionally come with, because they're made for either middle grade or young adult, those come with discussion questions at the end. I remember Scurry, my favorite Image Comics Skybound comic book thus far, had the and I got like enough as the first time I read too. Anyways, Scurry had discussion questions at the end. I don't know if Clementine did. Clementine is 14 and up. Scurry is is 8 and up, so it makes sense with the 8 and up book to have discussion questions rather than the 14 up book. I don't remember if Clementine had discussion questions at the end, but I think they should have. And even then, like, you can still, like, Clementine is still school friendly to where you can have discussions after reading the book. Yeah, it's kind of right for fun, and it's not. I would argue that Scurry is more of a school friendly book than Clementine is. I'm gonna stop talking now because I'm gonna get into spoilers for both series, but that's the way I feel about it. If you've read both, you know what I'm talking about. I do highly recommend Scurry, by the way. It's a really good book for anyone, not just the target audience. So I showed the artwork for that. A lot of the artwork for that because there was a little big, huge discussion there. Next one up is, this one snuck up on me too, technically, but this one was more, I had no idea this existed, and the Uncanny Omar Human Condition, when he was doing his comic book overviews, his comic book store overviews. He went to Germany, he was showing us some comic stores in Germany, and on the shelf, I came across the spine of this Complete Tales of the Con. So here's the spine. So that's what I saw. So this is the Complete Tales of the Con, written by Brad Geiger. That name probably doesn't sound too familiar to any of you guys, and if you're like me, you think to yourself, this is the only thing he's done for Image, isn't it? And pretty much it is. Sometimes it'll get even crazier. Like Jesus, that was the only thing he's ever done. Like that was the only thing that was credited for Jesus on Amazon, and he's done some covers for some Maria Lovelace. So even bigger connection there. He's done covers for Violent Flowers, I think it was. I know one of the other series, a new series he did. His point is, Image Comics, Maria Lovelace, some of the covers are done by Jesus Horlana. So even bigger, even more reason for my confusion to be justified. But yeah, the Complete Tales from the Con. This is an OGN along with All-Negro Comics. Well, actually, it was the first issue of the 1947 issue, so never mind. I said that already. But this is, actually, technically, this is not an OGN. So this was released as comic strips, from what I can tell, but also as 2 one-shots from Image Comics. Now, do I know if it collects both one-shots? I hope it does. I think it was just the 2 one-shots for... This is originally an original graphic novel. So is it an original graphic novel? Is it the 2... Should I say issues 1 and 2? I don't know. I'm going to say both. So issues 1 and 2 are collected in here. At least I hope they are. There's no way of knowing, because the credits page just implies that's an original graphic novel, so that's what I'm going to assume it is, and that the 2 one-shots were either came after this bid or before, but they don't count that as... Because they count it as the comic strips that are originally released. So it's an original graphic novel, so you know what I'm talking about. So comic strip first, then the 2 one-shots, then the Complete Tales of the Con. But it's all 4 years of their comic strip being brought into... being slapped onto a trade paperback. I do really like comic strips sometimes. Like I want to say sometimes. I do really like when Image Comics will do comic strips sometimes. No, I don't think it should be done all the time, but I always will be. My interest will always be a little bit more piqued when they do comic strips. When it's not a story like how Juvenile is a straight up story. They do like little funny comic strips. Like the other one they did this with that I own is Good Comics for Bad People, in its sequel, The Book of Extra Shame, whatever it was called. Those are done by Zach M. Stafford, and he has an online webcomic, and that was just it's just comic strips about his life and relationships and all that. And I think it's his life anyways. And other jokey, like more like just jokes, not really related to his life, or just kind of just jokes. And that was released into 2 digest-sized hardcovers recently. The second one came out recently. So I don't mind when they do that. Now, and honestly, if they do that more often, I wouldn't mind that per se. I don't mind it if my comic collection was littered with those. No, I wouldn't mind that. But it's also I like graphic novels to have a story, not just comic strips, But Anyways, complete Tales from the Con, Image Comics, Brad Geiger. Oh, artwork done by Chris Garuso. Now, I don't know if I did this for the All-Negro comics book, but I should. That's the main guy here was Chris Robinson, but here is the credits page for All-Negro comics. I feel the need to do that, to show you that. A little bit. You guys can zoom in on YouTube now. Make sure there's no glare. There you go. Okay. And then Complete Tales from the Con. Let's check to make sure. Written by Brad Geiger. Artist for Part 1, Part 1, is Chris Garuso. For Part 2, it is Scoot McMahon. So yeah, it does collect 1 through 2. It has to at least collect the 2 one-shots. And here's the artwork again for Tales from the Con. So then I also got this. I'm just going to show all the names here. How to make webcomics. Why did I get this? Why was this something I felt the need to get? Well, I thought, at the very least, it would be comic strips telling you how to make webcomics. It'd be kind of, a little humorous, so someone like me that doesn't really care can just read it as, as a fun little time waster. It was written by Brad Geiger, published by Image, so the completist of me would have been satisfied that it's at least comic strips. That is not the case for the most part. For the most part, it's just a guide on how to make webcomics. So, I don't know, again, there's no digital release of this, so I was not able to check this out beforehand, either through a free sample or elsewhere, to see what exactly this was going to look like inside. Because none the wiser. Image Comics logo here. Image Comics logo here. It's a standard size softcover. A standard size trade paperback. As has always been released from Image. So, none the wiser here. However, you do have a lot of pages have just little comic strips here, which is nice. Just really, really small printing. Very hard to read. So, it's worth it, in my opinion. And I got it for cheap. I got it for $8 off Amazon, and it was used like new. And that was Amazon Prime shipping too. So worth it at the end. And you have bigger, so right here, it's bigger sized. But yeah, I'm just gonna be flipping through this, just reading the comic strips and nothing else. If I ever want to get into making webcomics, hey, now I know how to make them. But definitely one that, had it been written by anybody else, I would not have bought it. Or if I had known. Honestly, if I had known, would I have, even if I known it was just the comic strips, would I have still bought it? If it was any more than $8, probably not. Moving on to the next book, and that is Gehenna, Naked Aggression, written by Patrick Kindlin, with artwork done by Maruzo Rosenwig. I believe Mateo is the colorist. Right? Yes. Exactly. So, artist is Maurizio Rosenwig. Colors is Matteo Battani. Now, what exactly is this? Because this also does have a bit of explaining to do with this book. Well, back in 2022, when Image was celebrating their 30th year anniversary, 30th year anniversary sounded weird. Back in 2022, when Image Comics was celebrating their 30 year anniversary, they came out with an anthology, 12-issue limited series of anthologies. And whoever was interested, they came in and wrote stories. And Patrick Kindlin did a story called Gehenna. Gehenna Naked Aggression is the 4-issue collection of that Image Comics series, that Image Comics anthology series, with extras. So it's not just a word-for-word reprinting. I hope it's a word-for-word reprinting, except for the additional story bits. So, as originally presented in the Image Comics Anthology 2022, but just added story. And I like that they did that. So now I feel more complete with Patrick Kindlin. So why does an Image, and why didn't they do it back in 2022? They had a huge-ass hardcover to celebrate 30 years of service, 30 years of making comics. They come out with a 600, because I did the math, it was supposed to be 680 pages. If I did the math correctly, I'm pretty sure I did. It was like 60 pages each, so a huge 680-page graphic novel, hardcover. You could do an oversized hardcover, make it like an omnibus. You could make it soft cover, whatever. It's 680 pages, so the binding would be fine. Why didn't they do that? I don't know. Like I don't have an answer. I'm not like, oh, Robert Kirkman said this or no. I think it's because some collected editions have already come out. Like we got one for Jeff Johns' The Blizzard. We got one for Gehenna now. Closer, I believe was the series. That's by Kieran Gillen. That's also one shot collecting his stories that were featured in the Image Comics anthology series. The only one now that I know off the top of my head I really, really want is just the... just John Arcudi too. That one too. And also Brendan Fletcher. And Brendan Fletcher did a lot. John Arcudi, he didn't do a whole lot. But Brendan Fletcher did a whole lot. And it was kind of annoying because it was like, well, it's a lot. But anyways, Gehenna, Naked Aggression. Now, I do have some of the Image Comics anthologies digitally. I do own some of them because, like, one of them was a Bitterroot. It was a Bitterroot story. It was in there. Then you had another one that was Pretty Deadly. And I had both those series, so I was like, yeah, we'll spend $4 for the digital version of that and get it for that one story. But there was some, like, one of them, I don't remember who the author was, but there was an Image Comics anthology story, and it was collected in there. I was like, oh shit, do I have to spend another $4? No, I don't, because ironically enough, that's what he did. So it was kind of like a win-win at the end of the day. Alright, next book is 4 volumes of the same series. Nice to have this in order. Radiant Dog, because I wasn't on the shelf for this. I had it stacked. When I took a picture of this on Instagram and shared it on Instagram, I just kept it where it was in the same spot. So it's like, I'm not going to put all these books away. Then tomorrow I'll take them back out. It's kind of silly. So just yesterday. So Radiant Black. Radiant Black Volume 4, 2-in-1. Radiant Black Volume 5. The Catalyst War Crisis. Volume 6, The Catalyst War Infinite Earths. I remember that because, again, like I was saying last video when I showed this off, when I did my comic haul. So that, I'll go over why I do these in several parts. But yeah, Infinite Earths, Catalyst War Part 2. And then Volume 7 is all new, all different. So what I found really humorous about when they title these trades is they're all Marvel Comics or DC Comics puns. Now for the first 3 volumes, I know Volume 3 is called Team Up, so we're still doing that. But I want to see if Volumes 1 and 2 do the same. Oh, Volume 3 is Rogues Gallery. So kind of. Volume 1 was Not So Secret Identity. Volume 2 was Team Up. Volume 3 was Rogues Gallery. So, not really. But comic puns in general. I like that doing that because it's a superhero comic puns in general. Because this is a superhero comic series. This is part of the massive verse line of comics from Image. This is, I want to say, what's kicked it all off. So there's Rogue Sun, Dead Lucky. Actually, it's back here, doesn't it? Alright, so there is Radiant Black, Rogue Sun, Dead Lucky, Inferno Girl Red, Radiant Pink, and Cowl. I feel like there's one... Oh, Radiant Red. Radiant Red is missing. It's a lot of them. So yeah, you have Inferno Girl Red and you have Radiant Red. That's not confusing. So technically, actually, it started with Cowl. Because Cowl came out first. Now, I don't... With shared universes like this, do I feel a need to collect everything? Yes. Pretty soon here, I will finally get back on Rogue Sun. But I'm waiting till the next volume comes out of Rogue Sun to get back. So that's all I need, actually. So what I do with these books is that instead of breaking out my copy of Volume 1 that I got a while back, if I got Volumes 4 through 7 of a series in that month and not Volume 1, I'm showing the artwork, break my rule technically, and showing the artwork for Volume 4. But only Volume 4. Like how if I had the first 4 volumes, I would only show the artwork for Volume 1. Reason why that is because I want to avoid spoilers for myself and for viewers. That's why I do the hand up for spoilers. I'm reading comics. I feel like it's like a cheat, to get past. Cause I'll say my hand is so let's say I finished Radiant Black and I'm reviewing it right now. I would say hand up and talk about spoilers. So mute your screen until you see my hand go down, and my hand would go down, and you can unmute. Yes, I could edit, but I don't want to. No, editing for me, I have thought about doing that off and on, but really, like, maybe once a month do I think, like, oh, that video, even then, like, once every other month, do I really think, oh, shit, I gotta either put up with the version that I released, or go back and do a second cut. And honestly, I think doing a second cut is better than, for certain videos, of course, than just doing a straight up editing. Sometimes the second cut comes out better than if I edited. That's why I don't edit, because I think sometimes, and if I don't have time, I would edit. And obviously, it's kind of wrong to say, if I don't have time, I would edit. I don't have time to edit, but not time to do a redux. Sometimes I just don't. I'm not doing that, I think editing for me doesn't really need to be done. I'm not the kind of YouTuber who's going to do crazy intros. And yeah, I could edit it, make like maybe like in the intro would be, like have like a 1 minute intro where I show everything. So those of you who don't want long-winded explanations of comics, they can just see what I got and then be done with it. That's what I have thought about doing. Or making a shorts version of it where I just show everything that I got. And then also like that the first minute and a half of the video. I have thought about doing that, thankfully. Sure, but yes, but also kind of like not wholly needed, in my opinion. If I was doing anything more than this, yes, I would edit my videos. But this is just me going over comics and reviewing comics. So, Volume 4 of Radiant Black is written by Kyle Higgins, with artwork done by... To be fair, when I had to go back to All-Negro Comics, I kind of edited that, so we never had to go back, but I'm not doing that either. So, Volume 4, 2-1 is written by Kyle Higgins, with artwork done by Marcelo Costa. The guest artist here is Eduardo Ferrigato for chapters 21 to 23. See Carlos does issue 22. Chapter 19 is inked by Carlos Eduardo. Colorist is Raul Angulo for chapters 21-22. And Igor Monti does chapter 24. Then color assistant is Rod Fernandez for chapter 20. So this collects Radiant Black issues 19 to 24, plus supplementary material. It's back here. Huh. You can see a bonus story in here. That's cool. That's 22 I reached with the artwork. Show it again. The artwork is having a standout in Radiant Black. When I was flipping through Volume 1, I almost bought it purely based off of that. Yeah, this was a series that I kept putting off getting caught up on trade-wise, purely because it's an ongoing. I'm going to be behind anyways, no matter what. But waiting until the series is done, let's say the series is 15 volumes of story and then it's done. Having to get volumes 4 to 15 all in 1 month or all at one time, all at once, not my idea of a good time. So, I got a good deal on these. I was at the comic shop and there's a buy one get one half off. So I was like, yep, doing that. Radiant Black Volume 5 Crisis collects Radiant Black 25 to 27.5. So A and B. So according to Image Comics, this is A and B stories. Like the Image Comics website itself, it's A and B stories. So that's collected here, and I like that. I like that Image does that. For Marvel Comics, there was they did Marvel Comics Presents again. because I think they're also celebrating an anniversary. Maybe for Marvel Comics Presents, but I almost want to say it was just an anniversary of Marvel Comics themselves. I think it was their 80-year anniversary, or 60-year, 80-year anniversary. Actually, that's exactly what it was. And they came out with the Marvel Comics Presents again. Now, the trades, instead of collecting issues 1 through 6 in a thicker trade, they instead did in 2 smaller trades. Now, the issues of Marvel Comics Presents, I think, like 40 pages each. So it's already a lot. So you cut it in half. That's your traditional comic book length. I get that. It's double the length, so but would it make more sense to do a $30 to $34.99 trade paperback, or even a $50 hardcover? Do an oversized hardcover and do your traditional charging up the ass for the hardcover. I don't know, but instead they did 2 smaller trades and 1 bigger trade. I don't know why they did that. It's really annoying because they have to buy both to get a complete story for issue 1. But that's what they did. So A stories are collected in this trade, B stories are collected in that trade. But Image Comics, on the other hand, this is also why. Now, do I expect them to do this all the time? No, but I mean, sometimes they won't even collect the bonus stories. I've had to get for Punk's a Comic. I had to get the CLBDF, whatever it's called, Comic Book Legal Defense Fund. They did a 1-shot for that same series. I had to get that. I had to get that on eBay. It was just a while ago. I had to get on eBay and I had to get a single issue. And it was kind of expensive, but it was a single issue. It wasn't like overly. It was like $10, I think it was, but it was kind of like for a single issue. It's a lot. I think it was like $8, something like that. I think it was exactly $8. But that was kind of annoying to have to do that. But most of the time, like, Image is like, yeah, here's A and B stories collected in here for Radiant Black. And I love that they did that. Just wanted to point that out. Now, is the creative team the same here? I don't know. And I never do this where I go over the credits page for each volume of an ongoing series. So I know it's all written by Kyle Higgins. That much I know. Actually, you know what? We'll do that. We'll just do writer. I mean, I assume that the artist is going to be the same throughout. Oh, so it's Kyle Higgins and Joe Clark. Joe Clark being the co-author. Yeah, it looks like the same artist. At least for Marcelo Costa. He's main artist. Yeah, Kyle Higgins and Joe Clark write this series. Well, I checked that. So yeah, 25 to 27 A and B stories collected in 1 trade. Then you have Volume 6, which is Radiant Black issues 28 to 30 A and B stories, and the supermassive 2024 one-shot. So what's the supermassive one-shot? Well, it's when all the Massiverse series come for a huge-ass crossover, and all the writers collaborate. Which I think is pretty cool. Now, will that they do that with Cowl? I don't think so. And also, there's technically no one that Brian Buccellato series is part of the Massiverse series. There's no real mention of whether or not there's any bonus story that's collected there. You know what I mean? Like, there's no no mention of whether or not there's going to be any No One stories in the next Supermassive crossover issue. It's Radiant Black, Volume 6, Catalyst War, Infinite Earths. Then Volume 7 of Radiant Black is 31 and 36. They stopped doing the A and B stories. Just, honestly, I like that. That's kind of annoying. Keyword kind of. Alright, so I'm going to do this, because this was the other books I got. First, next 2 were the other ones that I got at the comic shop. So I wanted to do, like, in order. Even though it's a complete November 2025 haul, I wanted to kind of split them up. Already an hour long. Nice. Invincible Universe Battle Beast. Written by Robert Kirkman, with artwork done by Ryan Ottley, with Annalisa Leone being the colorist. Now, I do not believe that Annalisa was the colorist for the original Invincible Universe, the original Invincible ongoing series. but I know for a fact that Robert Kirkman was obviously the writer, and Robert Kirkman was the writer for Invincible, and Ryan Ottley was the artist throughout. At least for the first few years, from what I've read so far of Invincible. Now, ironically enough, I did read his first appearance of Battle Beast. Which was featured in Invincible 19, I believe. Point is, I read. So I read the first two hardcovers. My library, I thought for some stupid reason, for some silly reason, my library would have all the hardcovers, so I was gonna read Invincible that way. I have the compendiums, but I wanted to read it in the oversized hardcover fashion. I did the same with Paper Girls recently. Instead of reading the compendium, I read the oversized hardcovers, the most recent reread of Paper Girls. Now, Paper Girls I've read 3 times. Ironically enough, the second time I read it was the compendium my library had. First time was the trades, second time compendium. This time around, it was the oversized hardcovers. What will I do the fourth time around? Probably the compendium again. I don't know. But that's going to be way in the future. Now we're talking about Battle Beast. So yeah, collects 1 through 6 of Battle Beast. There's Invincible Battle Beast Volume 1. Invincible Universe Battle Beast Volume 1. Heart of Glory. Which collects the first 6 issues or all 6 issues. That is up for debate. There's no indication this is a mini-series, but I just assumed it was. So this could be an ongoing series, but I assumed it was a 6-issue mini-series. I always thought that. Back when this was announced, I think it was announced as a miniseries. I don't know. Point is, they got more Invincible Universe schlock for big fans of Invincible. I don't know why I say. I was trying to say it the way that you usually say it, but I couldn't think of the way that you usually say it. I was trying to say like there's more Invincible for Invincible fans, but the other way you say it, like more. I don't know. Now, I did go off on a little tangent when I said I don't think there should be so many spin-offs of Invincible. I shouldn't be saying that because I haven't finished Invincible. But it's just kind of one of those things. And I understand there's so many characters in Invincible. I've watched the TV show thus far, and I'm like, yeah, that's a lot of characters to feature in Invincible. And to have spin-offs for those characters is understandable. But it's like, there's a lot of spin-offs for Invincible. And I feel like... Now, what they're doing now is they're coming out with trades and hardcovers and compendiums of the originals, of those series, like reprints, which I think is amazing. Capes is going to have a new printing where it's going to be the old stories, but with new added dialogue, which I'm not a huge fan of. I think they should just present it as was originally released. Or what they should do is come out when the trade comes out, make it double the length, so you can have the original and then the side-by-side. So you can do a side-by-side comparison, have the original, and later on in the trade, have the new printing. My 2 cents, anyways. But yes, Invincible, Universe, Battle Beast, all 6 issues collected in here. And I'm going to show the artwork again, because I'm talking about the artist. You got that Ryan Ottley goodness for your artwork. But yes, I got this at the comic shop. I think this one may have been one I got. Here, I'm going to check the receipt, which I think I kept, right? Yes, I did. Alright, this is probably for the closet, right? Yep, that was for Ming's visit. That's what it said. Which ones did I get half off? One of the okay, so Radiant Black. And yep, Battle Beast I got half off. So there you go. That justifies that purchase. I say justifies that purchase. I could have waited until Capes came out and Trade came out and got them both at the same time. That's kind of silly. And I had to do Amazon, and I got so I got rewarded for not waiting by getting the alternate cover, the variant cover. Because Amazon does not do that. Unless it's a third-party seller, Amazon does not give you the variant covers. Now that's another thing I want to go on a little tangent about. Not tangent, but a little... No tangent. Rant would be if I was pissed. Tangent is just explaining more. Okay. So, in detail. So, traditionally for those of you who don't know, if you're new to comics, which... Okay. If you're new to comics, the single issues will do variants. So 5,000 variants. Nowadays, they're doing like 5,000, a bunch. Trades traditionally aren't released in variants. Like, it's very rare. I don't want to say it's very rare, but it's not as often as you'd think that they would do variants for the trade paperback collections. Every so often they do it, I would say. Like, Not rare, but also not often. Oh god, I freaked out. I freaked out. That was out of storage. Oh my god. No, it's just gotta charge this guy. I hope it charges because you don't get any indication it's charging. And I'm not gonna end the video and then see if it's charging or not. But anyways, actually it'll tell me 5%. Well, will it? Or it's die on me. Time will tell. Anyways, so yeah, variants for trades not often, but they do it. They do that. They do that now. I want to say it was recent too, but Marvel did that with Spider-Man by J.J. Abrams. You got the trades in 2 variants, and this one did too. I want to say it's 1 and 2. But it's cool. I got this cover. Now does it say? I wonder if it tells you. This variant cover was done by collected cover. Yeah. So Ryan Ottley and Annalisa Leone, or Cory Walker, who's the original colorist. That's who it was. And Lorenzo Di Felici. No, so Cory Walker was one of the artists for Invincible. One of the original artists for Invincible. I think he might have been the colorist. I don't know. I know Lorenzo is a colorist. That's why. No, wait. Lorenzo is not a colorist. He's an artist. So I was right. Cory Walker is the colorist from, off the top of my head, from I remember, is the original colorist for Invincible. So collection covers. I believe I have the Cory Walker cover. Because you would think that Ryan Ottley and Annalisa Leone, the original series covers, did the cover for the main cover you get. So I got the variant cover. So here is that, and this is Lorenzo and Cory Walker. I don't know what's on my head though. Transformers Volume 4, Conquer and Control, written by Daniel Warren Johnson. And here, you know what? I'm just going to the credits page. It's a lot of artists this time around. I do part of it, all of it. There you go. There's all the credits page. Whoopsies. There is the credits page. I'm trying to not put my finger hide anything. Okay. And this collects issues 19-24 of Transformers, plus a story from the Energon Universe Special 2025. Like with Masterverse, they come together for an Energon Universe Special for each year. The annual. That's what Marvel did back in the day. So why not Image? Their shared universes. Now, it wasn't like that from Marvel, I want to say, but Marvel, like, you would have, like, a Wolverine annual. Like, back in the day, you had Wolverine annual, be 64 pages, and you'd have stories that were, like, from X-Men, that were unrelated, and I kind of like that they did that. We have one main story, you have part 5 of Atlantis Attacks, and then, that was what I was trying to say. So, for Atlantis Attacks especially, I actually have some of these original issues. They're not worth anything, so I'm trying to say, I'm not trying to gloat when I say that, I was just trying to bring it up. And it was like part 5 was released, and it was Spider-Man Annual. What was Spider-Man Annual number 5? And then you'd have the main Aliens Attacks part 5, but then you'd have some bonus stories that were not related to Aliens Attacks. So that is what Marvel would do back then. That's what I was making the connection to Energon in Marvel Comics. There you go. G.I. Joe Volume 2 Blood's Revenge, collecting 7-12 of G.I. Joe, and then a story from the Energon Universe Special 2025. This is written by Joshua Williamson, with artwork done by Andrea Milana and Marco Fodera. Lee Luffridge is the colors throughout, but Andrea Milana does some of the pages here. Marco Fodera doing the last 2 pages here. So here is the artwork for G.I. Joe Volume 2. Now, it looks like this is going to be ending soon. At least Joshua Williamson's run on G.I. Joe. So, this right here, Transformers, this is definitely Daniel Warren Johnson's last work on Transformers. He left, Robert Kirkman's coming on to, actually, artists are going to be different too. Artists will be with Robert Kirkman and, who's the artist for Once in the Future? Dan Mora will be bringing Transformers back for issue 25, and it'll be their run on Transformers. Now, G.I. Joe, according to solicits, it looks like is implying that it was because they said, like they kept saying something along the lines of penultimate issue. Now, is the penultimate issue of the arc or penultimate issue of the series as a whole? I almost don't know, but I want to say it was the trade. When I was reading, I was like, no, that's going to be it. Volume 3 will be it for G.I. Joe, and it'll either be over, or his run will be over. Can't tell, but it seemed to be either way, Josh Williamson's going off G.I. Joe. Golden Rage Volume 2, Mother Knows Best. Written by Chrissy Williams, with artwork done by Lauren Knight. Colors done by Sophie Dodgson. Flats by Shane Hanachu. Building to mention that. So this is a series that is just Volume 2. I'll take 1 through 5 of Mother Knows Best. Not 6 through 10 of Golden Rage as a whole, but 1 through 5 of Mother Knows Best. Now, that is kind of annoying when comics do that. Hellboy is infamous for doing that, because new readers are not going to be, even some long-time readers might be confused. Like, how do you know chronological order what to read Hellboy? You know, if you read the most recent series, number 1, Hellboy, will you be confused, or is it new reader friendly? That I don't know. I have read some Hellboy out of order. I haven't been too confused. So I would say with Hellboy, you can read it out of order if you want to, but if you're like me, you want to read it in order, especially for the first few volumes of Hellboy. But this at least does, the trades at least, and Dark Horse does not do this for Hellboy, by the way, for some of them at least. The new volumes at least do not say Hellboy Volume 240. It says Hellboy Volume, whatever the series is called, and that's it. The Silver Hand Coffin. That's what Hellboy's called. I get a fake name, by the way. It's not what it's actually called. So it's not Hellboy Volume 240, the Silver Hand Coffin, collecting 1 through 4 in a super expensive trade. It's Hellboy 1 through 4. It's Hellboy Silver Hand Coffin, collecting 1 through 4, Silver Hand Coffin in an overly expensive trade paperback. Now, when I say overly expensive, well, this is 5 issues of Golden Rage. Nice, thick paper stock for $16.99. Hellboy is thinner paper stock, not too terribly thin paper stock, but like in general, Dark Horse trades are thinner paper stock than you think it would be. I don't want to say it's the same. I don't know, but paper stock makes it look exactly as thin or thick as it looks. So it's 4 issues that are traditional. Each issue is a traditional length for your Dark Horse series, like Survival Street. That's 4 issues, 2 4-issue miniseries, 2 trades. Each are $20. $20 for 4 issues of a book. You guys want to know why I'm so like borderline glazing Image Comics? It's because they know how to price their fucking books. Like Dark Horse, really, $20, and it's 120 pages too. And the paper stock is not that much different. At the very least, it's not that much different. Anyways, Golden Rage. I really dug Volume 1. They advertised it as Golden Girls meets Battle Royale, and it's essentially that. It's been a while since I've read Golden Rage. I haven't read it again this year, but I was waiting for this trade to come out, and now that I have this trade in my hands right now, guess who's going to be reading Golden Rage next month? At the end of next month, probably, because I already have a lineup, and I can't take any out nor add any in. So, because again, you'll know what I'm talking about when I show you guys what I'll be reading for September of 2020. I'm sorry, for December of 2025. You'll know why I had to put this on hold, at least for now. Anyways, I will be reading this next month. Golden Rage, Mother Knows Best, Volume 2. Yeah, Volume 1 was actually really good. When I say it's like anyone would like it, yeah. It's like you think grandmas, and so they have certain, like one of them's lesbians. Yeah, they have that kind. It's not overly in your face about it though. So even those skeptical readers can be happy to know that it's story first, politics actors. Even then, like, Napalm Lullaby, written by Rick Remender, with artwork done by Bengal. Their second collaboration after Death or Glory, and then 1 issue of The Scumbag. But their main series, as far as series go, this is their second collaboration after Death or Glory. I absolutely loved Death or Glory. Loved it more the second time than I did the first time. I will give you that. But loved the first volume of It's the first volume. Loved Death or Glory. Both volumes. So I get the hardcover, oversized hardcover, and I love to have the oversized hardcover. I love to have the oversized hardcover of that series because it's not just as big. It's bigger than an omnibus. It's like absolute edition size. It's nice. But anyways, that series I really dug. So when I saw this one, I was like, you know what? Let's get a recommender series. Now this is not the last of I need a recommender or even trade wise or anything like that. Sometimes I break that completist rule to get something like this, or something like Radiant Black, or Invincible Universe, or whatever, what have you. Napalm Lullaby. Also, I do really like supporting these thicker trades for a $20, Image Comics, $20, 10 issues, 6 more issues for the same paper stock, pretty much same paper stock, and it's $20. Also $20. See, that's why I say Dark Horse overprices to hell and back again. I don't know if they consider themselves to be bigger than Image Comics, or they're just not making enough money as Image Comics is, so Image Comics can afford to do something like this, literally afford to do something like this, but I don't know. It's kind of weird. Here's more art. I kind of felt like when I showed off the artwork, it wasn't good enough. I'm like, good enough. No, it wasn't that. It was just inadequate. 3 more trades, and we got, what time is it right now in real time? Okay. Next up is Monkey Meat, the Summer Batch, written and drawn by Junie Ba. This collects all 5 issues of the Summer Batch. Again, like with Golden Rage, I didn't do issues 6 through 10. It's just Monkey Meat, the Summer Batch 1 through 5. Now, one thing we'll give people, I will give credit where it's due. You see Golden Rage, Brother Knows Best. You're kind of thinking to yourself, that's a really wordy title for it to be Volume 1. That must be Volume 2 at least. You know, even new time readers will probably look at the issues and say to themselves that same exact thing. And of course, if you're trade readers like me, no worries whatsoever for Image. They got your back. It's right here. Volume 2. So here's the artwork for Monkey Meat. So one thing I will give Image is that they've been doing this a lot recently. This is a lot lighter than your average Image Comics trade, and it's because of the paper stock. It's not cheap paper stock. Like I don't think I'm gonna break right through it if I hold on to it too long. You know, like I'm gonna break through it or anything like that. Nor can I see the next page. You know, through this page. You know, it's like it's running over. But it's kind of like that. Honestly, the best way to describe it is like newspaper print, kind of, sort of. It's kind of weird, but nothing that I'm like overly pissed off about. They did the same recently with the G.I. Joe Summit missions, which is weird because none of the other Iron Tron universes use this paper stock. And then a long time, first I noticed it with Enfield Gang Massacre, and that I thought was aesthetic more than anything. But this, I don't think it's aesthetic. Same with G.I. Joe. Maybe because G.I. Joe collects the G.I. Joe Summit missions, collects G.I. Joe Age of 21 from back in the day, the Larry Hama series, Marvel series. Maybe that's why, but I don't know. Whatever the case, moving on. So it's written and drawn by Junie Ba. I'm pretty sure everything's done by Junie Ba. Yeah, nobody knowing. I'm gonna assume. But yeah, so this is cool. So you get like bonus things like this. Like it's like a balls to the wall, already a balls to the wall comic series. They have a little in-universe advertisements, and then an advertisement for the original Monkey Meat series, which Volume 1 trade is your traditional size, like your traditional size. It's like all your like this paper stock, same as like this would be for Monkey Meat Volume 1. I don't know why they decided to do that for Volume 2. Now, it does look like you get more for your buck, because it looks like it's a thicker trade. That I like. And they still only charge it $16.99. I don't know. I think it's the, obviously because Image Comics is creator-owned, I think it's the creator saying, hey, we want our trade to look like this. I'm like, okay. Just a weird thing for me to, a weird thing that they do. Anyways, next up is Monstress Volume 10, Hollow Gods, collecting 55 through 60 of Monstress, the ongoing series. It's crazy for me to think about that series needs to go beyond 60 issues. But then again, it's monstrous. Now, I did mention this on Instagram. So this is one of those books that I'm just clicking trades as they come along. Now, I have read Monstress Volumes 1 through 3, and I dug them. So I know this is a series I'm going to dig. I know it's not going to be a series that's going to fall off after Volume 4, and I'm going to feel like I waste my money. I know it's not going to happen. So I'm fine with waiting as the trades come out, waiting for the series to end, officially end, for me to get back into Monstress. I know I like this series. So Marjorie Liu has never let me down with her writing. And Sam Takeda, at the end of the day, it's really good artwork by Sam Takeda. I just know at the end of the day, I'm going to have to take it off at least 40 minutes to 60 minutes to read each issue of Monstress, because there's a lot of dialogue. That was the one thing I kind of hated when I was reading Monstress. Keyword kind of. But when issue 1 was 64 pages, I actually didn't even say 66 pages, triple length, your average comic book length, and I did not mind that one bit. You got a absolute banger on your hands. And I was with the dialogue being the way it is. Like, it wasn't any less, I wouldn't say it's any less. Now, one thing Monstress has, they did not have for issue 1, it starts with issue 2, and I wonder if they have the same thing here, is that at the end of each issue, you would have a lecture by Professor Tam Tam. Not here. So it's not in chapter 55. Let's see, 56. I have it there. And it would just be like a wall-to-wall, just explaining the lore of whatever was introduced in each issue. That was a bit annoying. That was definitely hindered the overall pacing of the story for me. Yeah, it's not in here. Crazy. So maybe they stopped doing it. Maybe for now they're stopping doing it. I don't know, but no Professor Tam Tam for at least issues 55, 56. Last but not least is The Mummy by Faith Erin Hicks, with artwork done by Lee Luffridge. Faith Erin Hicks is the writer and artist. Lee Luffridge is the colorist. Collecting 1 through 4 of The Mummy. Now, I've absolutely adored these Universal Monsters Image Comics trades. They've been doing this recently. Image Comics, they got the rights for Image for the Universal Monsters. So they're coming out with 4-issue miniseries. They're collecting these oversized hardcovers. I love that. When you hear 4-issue miniseries collected in a hardcover that is $30, $25. That's $25. First of all, it's a steal, in my opinion. I thought it was $30. But $25, it's not bad. But yeah, 4 issues, that's kind of expensive if you think about it, because it's 4 issue story. Yeah, it always has hardcover. Kind of expensive if you think about it, but I think it's worth it. 100% worth it. With the talent that we've been getting for these Universal Monsters books. None of them have disappointed me. None of them whatsoever. I honestly, at the end of the year, because I want to, as I collect each hardcover, at the end of the next month, or that month they have time, I'll be reading all the series again, back to back. So, one of the last books I'll be reading in December will be The Mummy, along with the other ones. Dracula, Creature from the Black Lagoon Lives, and Universal Monsters Frankenstein. All were bangers. Now, ranking, you'll soon see. Now, Faith Erin Hicks, I don't know much about her writing. I read Nothing Could Possibly Go Wrong, but that was okay. But I've never been wowed by her writing, but I've never been disappointed either. But that, as they say, is that. That was a long video. An hour and 20 minutes of me babbling, and honestly, it's probably could have been 45 minutes if I didn't babble so much. But that's what I like to do. I like to explain things about comics. Superior, I did not even explain what I'm going to do for the last 2 minutes. I'm going to explain what happened with Superior. So Superior, what happened with that trade is that it was from a third-party seller, so not Amazon Prime shipping next day delivery, basically. This was through USPS. And was it the third-party seller or was it USPS's fault? I don't know. I tend to blame the seller, because I never had this issue with USPS. But at least this was long. What happened was it was going to the same 2 places back to forth. I'm gonna fake name. So, Spooner Street, Rhode Island. Let's say that's the one that's right before my address. So I know I'm getting the next day. So it shows up at some places in Springfield. Again, giving a fake address. Giving a fake location. Springfield. It's Springfield, Ohio, and then Springfield. Yeah, I can't. It was New Jersey. That's where it was. It was Teterboro, New Jersey, and then Jersey City, New Jersey. So like going back and forth, leaving, arriving, going back and forth, like 3 times over. It's insane how many times it was doing it. And then Rhode Island showing up. Okay, I'm getting next day, right? Nope, going back to New Jersey for no reason. And I got this like 4 days later than I should have for Superior. So when I finally held my hand, like yesterday it came in, I was like, I almost jokingly wanted to like grab it from. They would not hand it to me; it's handed to my mailbox, so it wasn't handed to me directly. I wanted to hand it and just throw it to the side and be like, "You didn't see anything because you can't take it away from me now." And I thought they would do that, obviously, but that says that.